was very instrumental in sort of pushing me on, urging me, encouraging me to get into college and to get into the field of education. So 4 women then actually have had a really great influence on my life as far as my professional growth, development, and certainly the great joys of my occupation. What I think that I remember most about the educational experience, most of which occurred right in this room I'm talking about, was a sort of a quiet direction that Mary Chase was able to give to the students. I recall maybe there were about maybe 20 students in the room. There was in retrospect, there was a conscious organization. I was aware that things were organized, that there was some sense of direction, but I really appreciated the fact that there was no pressure. I learned, and when I was in the process of learning, I was aware that something was going on, and when I learned something, it was a real great joy, the reality that this was actually happening. Of course, I think we had a lot of fun too in this class. I recall many of my classmates who I felt were good friends. I think it was a good rapport in the group. To some extent, we helped each other. One of the I think the most interesting projects that we were involved with, we were studying something about European and English history. And out of this came a very interesting project. We decided that we were going to produce a play centered on the life of Robin Hood. And of course, this was a story that Mary Chase read to us in some detail. We sort of organized what we were going to do. We made our own costumes. The people who were responsible for the music at that time, I think it was Mrs. Botstein, was one of the ladies who did it, and she sort of said, well, why don't we sort of, maybe we would say today, why don't we make a little bit of a musical out of this? So we worked to see what kind of songs would be appropriate for this production. Who were the singers in the class? Well, we discovered there were some people, kids that age, who had pretty good voices, and they weren't too self-conscious, and they were perfectly happy to learn the songs, and with the idea that they were going to sing these songs before an audience. The initial approach, as I recall, we were going to put on this Robin Hood play in Cummings Hall, but then somebody said, well, why don't we put it outside? Why don't we hold this over by what is now the Dahlgren building? And one of the neat things about it was that we were able to use a different kind of props. And here was Sherwood Forest right on the campus. And I think one of the things that impressed me most was that Fran Albers had a big brown horse. And everybody said, well, Fran Albers ought to be King Richard. And in this part, and I tell you, he was a pretty imposing guy then, and he had this big brown horse. And a bunch of us kids, we sort of deferred to the horse when Fran was on when his part was on the stage or in the scene. But out of this, it was fun to put together Robin Hood and to put on a bit of a show, and people seemed to appreciate the efforts of what we've done. But it was quite a learning experience. In fact, we learned a good deal about English history, and at the same time, something about literature, something about how a play was put together, how you use music in a production, somewhat of the disciplines of acting, how you didn't always have to ham it up. Sometimes you had to be pretty serious, and to be able to make the costumes, get the sets that we wanted. I thought this was a really great learning experience. I think as far as the sort of total atmosphere of the school, the things that I appreciated, I think the most were the friendliness of of the faculty. Certainly Mrs. Johnson was a very friendly person, and though I was of a tender age,